Playtime Co. has existed for over 60 years and they've created countless toys. But beyond Huggy, Mommy, and the Smiling Critters, there are many more toys that haven't received as much attention. Whether they are briefly mentioned or never even included in the game, we'll be going over Playtime's lost merchandise. Starting off with the character that isn't completely forgotten, Braun the dinosaur. He was created in 1961 as a plastic red brontosaurus with short legs and a long neck. Based on a company poster, Braun is athletic and disciplined as he sticks to a rigid 4,000 calorie diet. He can also be characterized as a friendly dinosaur who likes to tell jokes.
What do you call a dino with one eye? Do you think he saw us?
In the Rejected Toys room, we're introduced to a statue of Braun that has to be moved in order to proceed in the game. His reoccurring presence, as well as him referring to himself as the scariest dinosaur, led many to believe that he would be the main villain of an upcoming installment. But this has been proven as a red herring that Mob used to distract us from the real enemies. At the time, it was thought that Braun's monster version would be the main antagonist. His bright and yellow colors are dull and his eyes are soulless. He's also smiling in this variation while being covered in blood. The monster version of Braun can be attributed to his 1991 creation. This is when Thomas Clark would volunteer himself as an experiment subject. He was a longtime employee of Playtime Co. and his health had deteriorated as he got older. Instead of succumbing to terminal lung cancer, he decided to become Experiment 1199.
We have eye movement. Can you hear us, Thomas?
1199 displayed much more disorientation than we expected. Subsequent mental testing metrics were also cut practically in half. It's just conjecture on my part, but I don't believe he knows where he is or what's happened to him.
And this is pretty important because it's the first time that we see a glimpse of how experiments were performed at Playtime. After Clark's organs were placed inside of Braun, the subject seemed to have no memory of his prior life and was extremely confused. This could possibly mean that other toys at Playtime have trouble recollecting their lives as humans. Braun was then placed with other experiments to see how they would interact with him, but it went south pretty fast.
They would have killed him had the research team not intervened, and even then there was still significant damage to the internal structures with some of the anatomy, namely the larynx and the thyroid, having been completely devoured. It took 12 hours in surgery to stabilize 1199. We keep him separated from the others now.
This is mainly because the toys knew that Braun used to be a Playtime employee, so they showed him no mercy. And we haven't heard anything about Braun again, so it's presumed that he was killed during the Hour of Joy. Boxy Boo was thought to be one of the creatures that attacked Braun. He's known as Experiment 1160, aka the Devil Inside the Box, and was created in 1966. Although his bigger body was also created in 1991, he's depicted as a bright red and blue jack-in-the-box with springy arms and legs. He also has furry hands and feet with claws and an angular jaw with sharp teeth. Similar to Huggy Wuggy, Boxy Boo was supposed to be a very friendly, energetic companion, but he's exceptionally violent with extreme hunger. This can be seen as he swallows up a Playtime employee in one gulp. Unfortunately, Boxy's identity though is still unknown. Similar to Braun, people thought that Boxy Boo would be the main boss of Chapter 3, but he ended up serving more prominence in Project Playtime instead. Speaking of Project Playtime, there's an interesting group of toys called Wuggies. They're basically smaller versions of Huggy Wuggy that come in multiple colors. And of course, they're just as hostile. After a survivor goes down to the feeding pit, the Wuggies will appear around you in multiple pipes, similar to the Whack-A-Wuggy mechanic in Chapter 2. Except those are considered mini Huggies in which the player has to quickly combat them with their grab pack before they attack. After Wacka Wuggy, we're introduced to the minigame Statues, and the antagonist is none other than the lovable PJ Pugapillar. He's known as a Playtime Swapimal, a series of toys that are hybrids of more than one animal. As indicated by his name, he's half pug, half caterpillar. PJ seems to have advanced mobility paired with a keen sense of locating others. In Statues, you must move only when the lights are on, unless you'll get a horrific jump scare. And since we're reminiscing over Chapter 2 minigames, we can't forget Bunzo Bunny and his role in musical memory. In 1991, which seems to be the year of the Bigger Bodies initiative, the Bunzo we encounter in Chapter 2 was created. His green birthday hat, as well as his voice lines, seem to indicate that his role as a bigger body was to celebrate the birthdays of orphans.
Oh, happy birthday! Oh, happy birthday! Oh, happy birthday! Happy birthday to you!
In the minigame, Bunzo is like a servant to Mommy Longlegs. He's slowly lowered down as the player tries to complete the patterns. And if you miss too many times, you're greeted with loud cymbals and Bunzo's sharp teeth. Bunzo was also featured in a comic created by Mob in 2003 in which the viewers could vote on the outcome of the story. He and his non-sentient friend Bucky are trying to look for eggs, so he decides to ask Braun about where they could be. Braun suggests the game station, and so Bunzo heads there on his own. The game station appears to be boarded up, but slightly open at the bottom. Bunzo, somehow smelling the egg, decides to crawl under the gate and enters a dark room. He finds the egg near a red light and uses a grab pack to reach it. But when he opens the egg, he realizes that there's a happy baby bird inside. Eager to save the bird, Bunzo accidentally falls down a red slide and lands in a dark, empty room. He cries for help, but no one comes. 1 hour passes, then 5, and then 12. Before he knows it, 28 days have passed, but they all seem to blur together. The final slide shows a dead Bunzo with a torn forehead and missing eyes. The wall behind him shows claw marks, possibly from Catnap or the prototype. Bunzo was never seen again. Unfortunately, the tragic stories don't end here, as Candy Cat also had a rough go. Her persona is bright and bubbly, and she's known for having a sweet tooth. But her voice lines from Chapter 2 are a bit unsettling.
Click the button to feed me candy. Hum nom nom. Feed me more. Hum nom nom nom. More candy. Hum nom 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 nom. Okay, no more candy. My tummy's full. Nom nom nom. I said no more. Nom nom nom. Stop. Nom nom nom.
Her pleading to stop could be symbolic of the constant torture that she went through during the experiments. After you cheat your way out of Statues, you end up in a small office, and it's there that you'll find an assessment form. It links a girl named Michaela Hyssop and Candy Cat together. The game station played an important role at Playtime, and it was a series of tests designed to match children to their respective toys or bigger bodies. And these forms were a way of tracking their progress. According to the document, Michaela had positive results for musical memory and subpar results from Wacka Wuggy, but in Statues, she seemed to lose focus and become distracted. The scientist writing this, Mateo Lada, didn't get a chance to finish as the pen ink drags off the paper. Blood droplets are also visible, so it's possible that an experiment could have attacked Lada mid-documentation. While we don't know what distracted Michaela in Statues, we do know that she chose Candy Cat as her favorite toy and this is who she transformed into during the Bigger Bodies initiative. The next forgotten character of Playtime is Cat B, a swappable like PJ. She's obviously half cat, half bee, and is the toy that we create during chapter 1 during Make a Friend. Not much is known about Cat B except for the fact that she was created around the 80s and 90s. She also has a cheery personality, but warns us via her cardboard cutout in chapter 2.
Don't make me sting you! I'll do it! You need to get out of here. Just kidding! Go have fun!
Although not confirmed, it's possible to conclude that Cat B was also a bigger body, along with BoogieBot. He was created in 1993, and his design follows the wave of electronic toys in that era. He seems to be a dancing robot that plays music, but also has some identity issues due to his transformation.
Let's boogie. Am I a real boy? The robot crossed the road. He was programmed to do it.
In the same chapter, we're also introduced to Daisy, a smiley white flower with leaves for hands and legs. She was originally supposed to be the main antagonist in Musical Memory, but was replaced by Bunzo. There isn't much information about her except for the fact that her marionette version was rejected because it was too creepy for children. Speaking of rejections, we've gone over the forgotten toys of Playtime, but what about the ones that never got the chance to debut? These toys are all found in the rejection room in chapter 2, and some of them just exist for comedic purposes. Number 1, Surprise Hair, a green Easter egg toy with a bunny face and long ears. He's found all throughout the room, although there's no reason for his rejection. Same with Love Dog, who wasn't even found in the chapter, but in its files. Number 2, Sunny Buddy, a toy similar to Daisy but with colorful petals. It's first seen in Elliot Ludwig's office but also appears in the rejection room. The reasoning is also unknown. Number 3, Pet Stone. It's literally a stone with googly eyes. Rejected for simply not being creative enough. Obviously. Number 4, Owen the Oven. Unlike the others, this toy was actually released but was rejected because of children receiving 3rd-degree burns. You can't make this stuff up. Number 5, Kick Me Paw, an orange ball with short arms and legs that was hated so much you can see the boot marks on his model. Apparently, this toy was so bad that the presenter was laughed out of the meeting when pitching the idea. And number 6, last but certainly not least, Sir Poops a Lot, a bear with dapper attire that sits on a toilet. Sir has a large catalog of jokes such as, I like toilets for 2 reasons. Number 1 and number 2. His packaging also has an arrow that points to the bottom of the toilet and says, try me, although I'm not sure if I want to. Unsurprisingly, he was rejected and received a lot of negative attention from the company. But who's your favorite forgotten toy of Playtime? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and click on this video right here.